Okay, cool. Again, welcome to Learning Commons. Welcome to Learning Commons review session for CSA212 Steinberg Midterm 2. We asked Professor Steinberg for some review materials, and then he sent us a PDF, which I'm going to share with you. And he said the questions that we should discuss on the review session for preparation. Before we get started, if you haven't done the attendance form, please feel free to do so. The form link is also in the chat. And yeah, we can start right now. Okay. This is the part of the question. The other part is here. Okay. So this is the full question. Well, why is it highlighted? Okay, let me take another screenshot then. There you go. Okay, so if it's too small, I will try to zoom in. I'm not sure if it's readable right now. Okay, so Professor Steinberg said this is the question. This question will cover everything you need to know for your midterm 2. This is purely based on object-oriented programming and different concepts of object-oriented programming. And we'll try to explain everything as much as possible. If anything is not clear or not understandable, please let me know in the chat or open your mic and tell me. But yeah, we can get started. So this is a long question. Basically what they want us to do is this line, which is write the trio class that implements the menu item interface, and we have some requirements here. So what is a trio class? And trio class is determined by here, I think. So the menu at the launch counter includes a variety of sandwiches, salads, and drinks. The menu also allows a customer to create a trio. Trio is like a one of each, I believe. Yeah, so a sandwich, a salad, and a drink. And the price of that trio or that combined stuff is the sum of the two highest priced. So the one with the lowest price is free. And each menu item has a name and a price, meaning these two. And then the four types of menu items, the four types meaning the salad, sandwiches, drinks, and the trios are represented by four classes, which are these four, and they all implement the interface. So what is an interface? Interface is like a contract, you can say, which says whoever is gonna implement me needs to have these two methods implemented. In other words, if I say a sandwich is a menu item, inside the sandwich class, I have to implement these two functions or methods, which are the get name and get price. And if I don't do that, it will give me an error. So the reason we use interface is to have something called polymorphism, I believe that's the term. And that term basically means different version of the same thing. So for example, sandwich is a version of a menu item, salad is also a version of a menu item, and drink is also a version of a menu item, and trio is also one of them. And we use that, and I will explain when I write the code again. we use that to implement classes that comes from menu item. And then this diagram basically tells you what I just explained. So every one of those four are menu item. And menu item is the interface not we actually, it's like declared in the question itself. Okay, and then these are some examples. Say the sandwich has a cheeseburger, which has a price of 2.75, and club sandwich has also a price of 2.75, some salads and some prices, and some drink and their prices. Now, minimum content blah, blah, blah. Okay. Okay, so this part is telling you the name of the trio. So the name meaning like this function, because trio is going to be menu item, because trio is going to implement menu item because that's what they wanted. And when we say trio implements menu item, trio should have these two methods because that's what the interface contract is. So inside the get name, we want the name to be like this, what the question said, which is consists of the name of the sandwich, salad, drink in that order, and separated by a slash in between, and also followed by a space and then the word trial. Did they give an example? Yeah, so the examples are on the next paragraph. And the price of the trial is based on this part, which is taking the two largest item and getting the smaller one free. Not here actually, but more of it here. And then some examples are like this. So this is a trial name, and the name is cheeseburger, then slash, and then spinach space salad. So this whole thing is a salad. And then slash, and then orange soda. And then once these three items are done, then we have the space, and that space, after that, we have the word trial. So this is like one example of a name of the trial, and the price is going to be what is cheeseburger is 2.75, spinach salad is also 1.25, and orange soda is 1.25. So we can ignore one of those because both are the least amount. So we can ignore one of those and get the other two, and that will give you a total price of $4. And we have another example. It's the same deal. Club sandwich and coleslaw and cappuccino. If I take those three, club sandwich is 2.75, coleslaw is 1.25, cappuccino is 3.5. So we're gonna ignore the smaller one, and we're gonna take the larger ones, and those two will give you a total price of 6.25. And then finally, what the question was asking was implement this try function that implements the menu item interface, and the implementation must include a constructor. I'll explain what a constructor is when I start the coding. And it takes three parameters representing three of the three items because trial had three items. And the following code segment should have indicated below. So this is like a test case or a dry run. Like if sandwich is one item, salad is another item, drink is another item, and we pass in like this, it will pass everything because sandwich is the first item, salad is the second item, drink is the third item. But for this one, it fails because it's in a different order. Sandwich is the second item, not the first. It should not happen. And the second one also fails because we don't have any drink. We have salad two times, so which is not allowed. So that's the overall structure of the question. If none of you have any confusion, we can get started with the answering the problem. Also, if anybody joined late to the session, please feel free to do the attendance form. William, could you please send the attendance form one more time so we don't forget people who joined late? Okay. So we're gonna get started. So I'm gonna start writing from here. Hopefully you guys can see everything. It's very hard to share everything in one screen. So also public and private. I'm not sure if Professor explained it or we explained it last time. The revision was held. Public and private are access modifiers. What I mean by that is Let me just write down the theme first, and then I'll explain what each part means. Implements menu item. Okay, so this is the name of the class. I'm sorry, this is the name of the class, trio. And trio implements menu item because they literally told us that trio is going to be implementing menu item. And the way we write in code is basically the word implements. And trio is a class because they want us like that, and so I have to put the class in front. And this public is an access modifier. What I mean by that is if it's public, you can access this class and its methods outside. For example, in a complicated Java program, you can have multiple files. Multiple files can have multiple classes. If a class is public, you can access that class from a different file. If they're in the same package, obviously. But if they're private, you can't access the class from a different file. You have to be in the same file to access or modify anything inside. Then this is the title line of the class, and then we're gonna go inside and we're gonna write some stuffs. So first, obviously, we need to the class. I'm not sure. Okay, let's just break it down then. So class is the blueprint, and object is the actual item, meaning you can think of it like the classic example is a cat is a class and different breeds of cat are the objects. So when you say, I don't have a cat, so I don't really know the breeds of cats, but if you have a cat breed, that breed is object and the cat is the parent class, the class we define. And class can have different things. I think they only have attributes and functions or methods. By attributes, I mean like variables, but variables is not a good term to say for classes because a class can have another class inside, which we're going to do here. For example, this trio class is going to have a sandwich, sandwich. It's also going to have, actually, let's do three space because I don't know. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's also going to have a salad, and it's also going to have a drink. A good way to distinguish between objects and primitives is looking at the first character. So when you write down something like int a, int a equal to 5, this integer is a primitive because the first character is smaller. But when you write something like string b equal to hello, the string is an object because this is a capital word. So you can see that trio is defined as T as the capital, so as S, S, and D. So all of those are classes slash objects. Whoa, what happened? And we're gonna define those. So I'm gonna put a variable name for sandwich. Let's just call it S for sandwich. Well, I can't really call it S for sandwich because salad also is S. So let's say SW for sandwich and SD for salad. That should do it. And drink, we can have DR. So each three of them are attributes of this class trio. And what I mean by that is this trio class has a sandwich item and a salad item and a drink item. And obviously the names doesn't really matter. You can put X, Y, and Z. That's also fine. Also, you need access modifiers for each one of those. So are they public or are they private? Usually, if the question doesn't say if it should be public or private, you can safely put public. But some questions do ask, oh, hey, this should be a private variable, this should be a private method, this should be a private stuff. So in that case, you should put private. But so far in this question, we didn't see any mention of public or private, so I'm gonna assume it's a public. So it's a drink. So now what I just said is this trio class is going to have three attributes. The first attribute is a sandwich class. The second attribute is a salad class. The third attribute is a drink class. We are not going to define each one of those because the question only asked this part, the green part. is to write down the trial class, and the trial class is going to have salad, sandwich, and drink based on the question. We can actually write down those classes at the end, but let's just focus on this question now. So once we have all the attributes we need, the next thing you need to write down is the constructor. And constructor, I think they also mentioned it somewhere. Where is that constructor? Constructor, like this line. A constructor is a special method, and that's the first method that's being called. By method, I actually mean function. I'm pretty sure you guys are more familiar with functions from 111 C11, 111 and 211, but in Java they call it method. I'm not sure why. By function or method, the constructor is a special method, and that's the first thing that's being called when you declare an object. So for example, in this line, the first line of the example, we say this variable. Also, don't get confused by this trial and that trial. The first trial is the object or the class, and the second trial is the variable name. You can put this one as an X or a Y or a Z, it doesn't really matter. But this has to be the class type or the object type. So this is trial type, and this is the variable name. And the way you make a new object is by the word new, N-E-W, and you pass in the type, and that type has these parameters. And you'll see why we need those. This is not actually the type, this is like a method that's being called, and that method is the constructor. Meaning we're gonna call the trial method, and we're gonna pass in this thing, and this thing as parameters. And whatever constructor do, they're gonna do that. So we want also the constructor always share the same name as the class name. So if your class name is TRIO, your constructor should also have TRIO. And we're gonna have 3 parameters, right? Because that's how they defined here, or actually used here. First parameter is the type sandwich. Second parameter is, I'm gonna skip the variable name. Let's just do, let's do X for now. And then salad, this is the second parameter. You see how we are doing with capital X, because that's the that's the object or the class, and we want that from here. And you can see that all of those, like this sandwich or this salad or this drink, are all from this type or this class: sandwich, salad, and drink. So we're gonna do sandwich X, salad Y, and drink Z. And what we're trying to say is this, also we need a what's the word, I forgot, access modifier. And since they didn't mention anything, so I'm gonna assume it's a public. What they want us to do here is, given these parameters X, Y, and Z, set them to these attributes. So basically, when we pass in X, this X should go to SW, this Y should go to SD, and this Z should go to DR. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to set SW, I'm going to set X to SW, then Y to SD, and then Z to DR, because these 3 are my attributes of this trial class as defined above. So that's how you write a constructor. Just to reiterate, it shared the same name as the class name. It takes some parameters, and they are basically how they defined, or how they used in the question. So this question they used like this. First one is a sandwich, second one is a salad, third one is a drink, and that's how I do it. And once I do it, I just basically set them up to my attribute. So the X goes to SW, Y goes to SD, and Z goes to DR. Any questions so far? Since my private class, private class, aren't possible. Okay, so protected is a term. I'm not sure if you need to know this. Protected is for, I think the term is inheritance. This is used over there, meaning if you have one class inheriting another class, and if your next class or something inside that class is protected, you can actually access it from the parent class. Just to give you a quick example, say I have class A and class B inherits everything from class A. So B has a protected method. Let's call it the method X. Even though this, I think I'm doing the other way around. Protected, I think it's the other way around actually. If A has a protected method, I can access that method from, wait, is it the other way around? Actually, let me just Google it because I'm not sure which direction does it go to, this direction or this direction. Actually, let's see. Does protected method go? Okay, yeah, I was wrong. So if this is my base class and this is my derived class, derived meaning like it derives everything from A. So if whatever A has, we have full access to B. And if base class has a protected method, I can access it from B, even though B doesn't have that X method. Not sure if Professor Steinberg's covered this in class, but anyway. Anything I missed? There's no option for today's closest. Okay. I haven't seen problem with this possibility. Just public, private, members, blah blah blah. And you can't have a top level private. Yeah, so what William is saying is absolutely right. In one file, you can only have one public class, which is the top level class. Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. What William says is perfectly fine. And you will see what happens when we test this in an online compiler. If we don't have, okay, you will see at the end. I don't want to mess this up right now. Anyway, so this is how we define a constructor. And what is the next thing they want us to do? Define a constructor with 3 parameters, sandwich, salad, and drink. We did that, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. So the constructor looks fine. And remember when we said this inheritance, not inheritance, interface, my bad. Interface is a contract saying whichever class implements this contract should have these two methods in their class. So since we said trial is going to implement menu item, the trial should have this get name and this get price methods. So that's the next step. And we know we have some restrictions on what the name is going to look like and what the price is going to look like. So name should return a string, get NAME, and the other one, price, should return a double because there can be decimal numbers. So double, what is the name of that? Get price? Yeah, get price. Okay, there we go. So these are the two methods that we need to implement because we are implementing menu item, and menu item is the contract or the interface that's defined in the question. So we know the get name, how the get name should look like is like this. This is like one of the example. And the first one is the sandwich, second one is the salad, third one is the drink, then followed by a space, and then followed by the word trial. And we can do that in one line, which is just returning a string, and we're gonna fill up the string. So we know this class has my sandwich and my salad and my drink, and we know that each one of those has their own name and their own price, right? Like that's how they used here. Like each one of the sandwiches, like sandwich can be cheeseburger or it can be club sandwich, and they have their name and they have their price. So what we're going to do is we're going to access the name, and you know how to access the name, right? Because they're all implementing menu item, right? Sandwich is a menu item, salad is a menu item, drink is a menu item. So if I call sw dot get name, this should return me either one of these, cheeseburger or club sandwich. Same goes with salad or SD as I defined, or drink or DR. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. We're going to put, well, actually, let's just do it outside the string, because if I put it inside, then it's going to literally print sw dot get name. We don't want to print sw, we're going to print the actual name. So let's get rid of the quotation marks and do sw dot get name. And then they said, after the name of the sandwich, we want this, what's that called? Slash or whatever that is. So we want that, and that is a character. So we need to do this separately because this is coming from a method, but we need a different character here. So I'm gonna put that character here. And then followed by the salad name, which is sd.getName. And then same thing followed by a character slash followed by dr.getName, followed by after the dr.getName, dr.getName ends here, right? That's where the name ends, orange soda. Then we have a space and the word trial. So we can do this in one line, which is basically having a space first. Like this is the space, and then I type down the word trio. So this is my space, and that's the word trial. So when we call trial dot get name, it's gonna go to the SW. What is SW? SW is the attribute of the trial, and SW is a type sandwich. The sandwich also has a get name method as defined, and we're gonna call that get name method to get the name of the sandwich, whatever that is, then followed by a slash, followed by the name of the salad, followed by slash, followed by the name of the drink, followed by a space, and then the word trio. And that should be it. That should give me the name of the trial as they want us from the question. Then we're going to define the get price. Let me see if I missed anything from the chat. I haven't seen anything like private. Okay. Make covered yet. I'll just get it. Okay, fair. The midterm within Tuesday, right? Yeah. What is this? Get the British rating code. Yes. Yes. That's what William said. You can try to search up. It's from AP CS exam from 2014. If you guys really want, I can give you time to take a screenshot of this or whatever makes more sense to you guys. Anyway, so now we have to define this get price method, and we know that the price out of these three items, we want to not include the lowest one because the lowest one is free. So how can we do that? The smallest, like the quickest way I can think of right now is, for example, let's say a sandwich has 2.75, then salad has 1.25, and the drink has a price of 3.50. Do you guys agree that if I add everything up, like if I do this one plus this one plus this one, whatever the result is, like I don't really know what the result is. If I subtract the minimum of those three, like minimum of those three, that will give me my answer. Because the whole idea of picking the largest two is like not getting the smallest one, and the smallest one is the minimum of these three, right? So we can literally add these three up, and whatever the result is, we want to subtract the minimum of those three, and that should give me my answer. And that's exactly what I'm going to do here. Similarly, the way we did the get name method, we know that SW is type sandwich. So sandwich has their own get name and get price. So we can literally call SW dot get price to get the price of that sandwich. So we have to store this somehow. Let's just store it in a variable called SW price. And similarly, I'm going to store all the other two variables or all the other two prices. So SD price is equal to SD dot get price. Similarly, the other one, which is dr price, dr dot get price. When I took this class, I remember getting confused with the name with the method. Like, it looks kind of like similar. The name, you can put anything. Nobody's gonna take points off if you name this like your name, right? Whatever your name is. Or you can literally name this, I don't know, mouse, this one, keyboard. Like, this is completely okay. Whatever makes more sense for you to understand. Because oftentimes when, so for example, you will see like this variable, instead of calling SW, they call it sandwich, but the S is small. So that's like the giveaway that, oh, hey, this is the name of the variable and this is the type of the variable. But when you read it and you take the first time taking Java, you kind of get confused. Oh, hey, why is sandwich? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? They're both the same word. So that's why it's very good to distinguish between variable and types. I try to do it as much as possible. But if this makes more sense to you, you can literally name the mouse and keyboard. That's completely fine. Nobody can take points off of it. But it doesn't really make sense. So let's just call it SW price like we had before and SD price. So now we know that these are the three prices, and what we described here is I'm going to add everything up. So let's just add them up first. I'm going to call it, I guess, total. And we want to add them up. So SW price plus SD price plus DR price. And that will be my total. And we know that the total has all three, but we don't want the smallest one. So I can get the smallest one. Let's store that in a variable smallest price. And Java do provide a function called minimum from math library. So the way you want to call it is math.min. And this function only takes two parameters. So for example, in other languages, specifically Python, the Python's min method can have, 1, 2, 3, all the way up to like however many you want. Like you can have 1 million items and it will take the minimum of all of that. But Java's min method only takes two and it takes the whichever is the smallest one. But now that we have three items, we can't really do SW price and then SD price and then DR price, because this will give us a error. So the way we're gonna do this is just having another min in front. So basically it's something like this. What it is doing here is it's taking the minimum of these two first, and whichever that is, right? It can be the SD price or it can be the DR price, and take the minimum of that one, compare with this one, and that's the minimum of all three. If you want the minimum of 4, we want to have another method or min function after that. So that's how you can get the minimum or the smallest price between those three. And we know that if we subtract the minimum from the total, we should get my actual answer, which is the price of the trial. So that's how you can get the price. Basically, getting the prices first, is storing it somewhere, and then adding them up, and then getting the smallest one. You see how this is a capital, this is small. So small is kind of like a giveaway. Oh, hey, it cannot be a class. It's like a method or a parameter or an attribute. And the capital are usually like a class or library or something like that. So that's how you can get the that's how you can implement the get price method. Obviously, it's going to return a double type, and we know it's fine because total is a double as defined here, and the smallest price is a double as defined here, and the subtraction between those two should also be double. And that's it. Like that's exactly what they wanted. This, if you had something like this, you're gonna get full marks. But since we have a lot of time left, so I'm just gonna implement the other three classes, like these three classes, just to show you what they will look like if being implemented correctly. But let me see if I missed any. questions in the chat first. Can we use the max minus min? What if the two arguments passed into the min have the same price as with the salad and drink? Well, if they have the same price, it will be one of those. Either one of those will be the return value of that min. Can we use the max minus min? If I do max minus min, it's not gonna be the correct answer because, for example, in this case, like the second case, it was this one, and this one. The max is 3.5 and the minimum is 1.25 and the result is 2.25, which is not the correct answer. The correct answer is 2.75 plus 3.5, which is 5 point, actually 6.25. If the variables were private instead of public, then how would you access it? So if they're private, you can access it inside this class, right? Because everything is inside this class, right? This class trial. So whatever's inside, you can access it from here. Either way, it's public or private. But the reason they do it privately is because a different person or different class or different file, say this is like file one, right? File one dot Java. If we're in a different file, file 2.java, and we say we make a class, like a trial class, right? So you know how to do this like the way they did it in the question. So I'll write down trial tr equal to new trial, then pass in some sandwiches, right? So they wanted, well, let's just assume sandwich is a class and salad is a class and drink is a class, which they are not as of now. But let's just say this is like a different file. If they are public, I can literally do something like tr dot set. I think it's called set, getters and setters. Um, not sure if my syntax is correct, but you can literally set the variable of sw with something else. Like say sw dot get price, whatever that was. I can literally set that to a different variable, different number, like 90. The syntax is messy because I'm not sure the exact syntax, but you can literally change the values of here from here because they are public. And that's why they do it private or protected. So you cannot change those values here. And you can understand why they do this because we don't want unwanted people changing our inside stuffs and make things complicated. And that's the idea of public and protected. But since the question didn't ask us anything about being private, so I'm gonna assume everything public, just to make our life easier. Yeah, I mean that's totally it. Any questions so far? Go on. Yeah, so William said the way you want to set, so my syntax was wrong, but it's basically if I do tr.sw equal to 90, it will literally change whatever the value of sw was. So it was like, I don't know, 2.75. It will literally convert it to 90 in the file too, which we obviously do not want, right? So that's why they are usually made as private, like each one of those should be private, but we are just making it public because I don't want to introduce new stuff that we don't need. So if we don't have any questions, I'm just going to quickly implement the sandwich class, the salad class, and the drink class, even though the question didn't ask us for that, but just to show you how it would look like. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to say class, class sandwich, class salad, class drink. You see how all of those has a capital in the first character? This is like a common convention of Java. Classes or objects should be capital, and primitives or this is like a primitive variable. They should be start with a small character. Also, if they should be public, like obviously. as a access modifier. And I will explain why it will not work when we test it in an online compiler later on. And it's the same reason William said earlier, which is one file can only have one public class. You cannot have multiple public class in the same file. Um, so this class sandwich should have what? They should have these two methods, because sandwich is also menu item. So that also means I should also write down something like public class sandwich implements menu item. And that way we should have to implement the get name method and the get price method. Obviously, so sandwich would have a name and a price as shown here. Every sandwich, every salad, every drink has a name and a price. So I'm gonna store that in variable. Name is a string. So let's just call it name, and price is a double. Call it a price. And we obviously need to have a constructor because it's a class, and every class has their own constructor. And as we described above or below, I mean before, constructor has the same name as the class name. So if my class name is sandwich, my constructor name should also be sandwich, and it's gonna take two parameters. Let's just call it n for name and p for price, because sandwich will have those two values given, and we want to just basically set them up to my attribute list. So basically n goes to name and p goes to price. N goes to name here and p goes to price here. So this way, when we make a sandwich and we say something like sandwich as t equal to new sandwich, and I need to pass in two parameters here because my constructor takes two parameters. So the first parameter is going to be the name. Let's just call it x name, and the second parameter should be double or price. Wait, why did I write down price here? It should be double. Price, let's just call it, I don't know, 1.0. So if I write this line, the name will have the value x and the price will have the value 1.0, because this method is basically the constructor. So x is being going here and 10 is going here. So n goes to name. So that means n goes to name, and p goes to price. That means p goes to price. So that way we, basically when we create a new class or new object, we basically call the constructor and set the attributes inside the constructor. So that's what will happen when we use it in an example after we are done with all the classes. So then we have the two methods, right? The get name and get price. So get name should give me a string because name is a string. Get price should give me a double because get price is a double. Obviously, I'm just assuming everything is public as of now. Public, and this should return me the name of the sandwich, and I know that name of the sandwich is stored in this variable or this attribute of this class, so I can just return name. And we know the name is accessible because obviously I forgot to write down public or private here, but just assume everything's public because the question didn't mention. Usually people write down attributes as private because of the reason I explained before, because we don't want anybody to change the name or the price from outside. But I'm just making things public as of now. So this is gonna return the name because name is over here and it's inside the class, so I can access it. And the price is gonna do the same thing. It's gonna return the oh sorry. it's gonna return the price. So this is the this is how the sandwich class would have been look like if they wanted us to implement. And you can literally make the same argument that the other two classes should be literally the same. So I don't want to write down everything. I'm just gonna copy paste them and put them inside here. Like that. That is my salad. So also this will not pass because the constructor of that class is a different name than the class itself. So I want the same name as the constructor, and salad has the same name and the price. So I just want to pass it in, and to name and p to price, and get name will be the same thing. And same thing goes with the drink. Let me go here, copy that, paste that, and I also need to change the constructor name. There you go. So this is what the entire implementation would have been look like if they wanted us to implement all those three classes. But for this question specifically, we just only want this part. Any questions so far? Can use maximum. No, we'll get any recording. We don't plan to YouTube channel for sure. Yes. So the recording would be posted in the lead code, not lead code, Learning Commons YouTube channel first. And then we're gonna post the same link to the Code for All servers 212 channel. You guys can look at wherever. Usually we do it as soon as possible, so the video gets uploaded to the cloud, and then someone from our team uploads to YouTube, and then however long it takes. Um, so this is the implementation. And if none of you guys have any question, we wanna quickly test it if our implementation works in an online compiler.
Um, can you go down to the sandwich implements menu item? Just wanted to make sure
Yeah,
I actually copied it right, just so.
sure thing. Yeah, yeah,
All right, thank you so much.
no problem. Okay, so if nobody has any question, I'm gonna go. Actually, let me stop share first, and then I have to share my entire screen because of that. Stop share first, and then share this screen. Okay. Okay. So I was playing with this compiler before this call. So let me just remove everything first, and then we want to paste our solution, and then we want to check if it actually works or not. So control copy the whole thing, copy that, and then come here, and then paste that. I think I got it right. Oh, they should be inside should they be inside the main method? How did I do it before? No, it should be outside. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so this is a Java file or Java program on the file implement.java. This is basic stuff. The first main method, which has public static void main string args, and then I made some demo classes. So basically, cheeseburger is a sandwich class, and that has the name of cheeseburger and the price of 2.75. So with the salad and the orange soda. And then I make this trio or trial class, and I basically pass in this cheeseburger, spinach salad, and orange soda. And when I try to print the get name, it should print me something like this. And when I try to print the get price, it should print me the price of that. So now, if I run it, you will see it will give me a compiler error because, oh, well, first of all, I missed semicolons in line 32. Okay. but it will still give me a compiler error because exactly what William said earlier, which is in one file, you can only have one published class. So when I say this is the public class main, and obviously the name of that public class has to match with the name of the file. If the name of the file is main.java, my public class should have main.java. And once I declare this is my public class, I cannot have something like this. So that's for demonstration purposes. I'm going to remove all the public from class names. So like this, like this. But in your actual exam, you should not do this. You should write down public because that's how professor wanted it. But you see how we like these publics are fine because they are not classes. They are basically attributes of classes. But this public was not fine because these are public class. So now that I get rid of all the public classes except the main one, let's run it. Obviously, it's a menu item. So I forgot to implement the menu item, which was from the question, right? Like this part. So it says public interface menu item, string get name, string get price. So let me just do it real quick. Public interface menu item, string get name, double get price. This was given the question. I just forgot to put it in. Wait, what went wrong? Did I not copy it correctly? Public interface menu item. What did I do? Public interface. So public, yeah, same problem as other one. I cannot have public here as well. Okay, there you go. Exactly what we wanted. This follows that, and this follows that. Now, if I change either one of those to, I don't know, X, Y, and Z, and change the number to, I don't know, 2.0, 1.0, and 3.0, and run it, it should give me XYZ because X is the sandwich, Y is the salad, Z is the drink, and basically taking the IS2. So 3.0 and 2.0 is taken and 1.0 is ignored because that's the free one. And yeah, that's how you can do this. Any questions so far? Mm, I don't really have anything else in mind to cover. When I asked Professor Steinberg for review materials, he basically told us that this question, the question 4 from AP Com Sci response, is everything students should need to know for this upcoming midterm. So I'm assuming like whatever we covered here, right? Classes, objects, interface, then the idea of polymorphism, right? So when we implement a menu item, like sandwich is a version of menu item, then salad is also a version of menu item, and drink is also a version of menu item. So when we, it's basically a different version of the same thing, and that's why we use interface. An interface is the contract which tells us that whoever is going to implement me should have these methods that been declared. So they are usually given in the question, or they tell us in words, and you have to implement the interface. And it's basically simple, like I did in the online compiler. It's like the word interface and whatever the name is, and basically a couple methods, whichever ones the question wants. And then the idea of polymorphism we explained before. Also, this thing is, I think the word is called composition, if I'm not mistaken, is like one class, this trio class have multiple class inside. So sandwich is an attribute, but sandwich is also a class. So this trio class composites the sandwich class, so does the salad class, and so does the drink class. And then what did we do? Then we had the constructor. Constructor shared the same name as the class name. and it takes parameters. And these are basically when we declare, when we initialize a new, class, we basically call the constructor and we pass in whatever parameter the constructor requires. And they basically set it to the attribute. So X gets set to as W, Y gets set to as D, and then Z gets set to DR. Then we implemented those methods. Basically, these are, logics, nothing else. Whatever the question wanted in this format. So I made it this format, and this is like, very basic, like, getting the minimum out of the total. I'm pretty sure you can do it in taking max first, then ignoring that and taking the max of the other two. But whichever one makes more sense to you. And then in public and private access modifiers, if the question doesn't say anything, it's safe to say it's public is fine. But usually these variables are, people put it private because of the reason I explained before. But methods are usually public, but sometimes can be private, depends on the question. Also, this thing I forgot to mention actually. They said this should be fine, this should not be fine, this should not be fine because they are in a different order, and this one doesn't have a drink and have two salad. And it's actually done automatically. If I go back to the compiler and I change the order, right? Change the order here and try to run it, it will give me an error automatically because because Java is strictly typed. So what I mean by that is when inside the trio constructor, if I look at it, it's expecting first one of type sandwich, second one of type salad, third one of type drink. But when I pass in second one as type drink, because orange soda is type drink, right? The compiler literally says, oh, hey, we can't do that. So it's automatically taken care of. You don't need to worry about that. And the other example was taking, both as orange soda. It's the same deal here, which is, like that. Um, yeah, I mean, that's totally it. Um, where is the Zoom link? Okay. If you guys don't have any question, or if you guys don't have anything I can cover tonight, you guys are feel free to leave. But before you leave, please feel free to do the feedback form. This help us hosting more review sessions in the future. The form is in the chat, as my friend William sent it already. Sure, yeah, I can really send my code in the chat if you guys want. Let me just take
Just
this.
just to ask, so this question basically covers everything that's like possibly going to be on the exam. If not that, Professor Steinberg probably modified with the like extra
Well,
questions that's like that.
okay, I'm gonna literally show you what Professor Steinberg said, which is, I'm still sharing my screen, right? So that's exactly what Professor Steinberg said. Your peer tutors could use question 4 from blah, blah, blah to help prepare for the exam. It covers most of what the student can expect from the exam. So that's what Steinberg said. And if he changes stuff, it's not on my end, obviously. He can literally change stuff the night before, but that's from Steinberg. Um, But let's
Okay,
just
got it.
paste my code first because someone requested. Oh wait, I can't paste my entire code because my entire code is more than 1000 characters long. So let me just put it like, in blocks. Let's, let me get rid of this first. And well, wow. Sure, yeah, I'll go over this right now. Give me 1 second. Okay, so this is like the first part of the code, and the second part is give me a second. So I got to up to get names. So get price. Wow. Okay. Okay, there you go. So this is the entire code. I can't sent the whole thing in one go because the Zoom didn't allow me to send more than 1,000 characters long. But if you put them together, you'll get the actual solution. Also, I removed the public classes from the solution because I copied it from the online compiler. But in actual answer, you should have the public modifiers before the class. Now, let's see. Can you review static versus instant methods, variables, and used to be inheritance in polymorphism? Okay, so polymorphism is what we just had here. One interface lets us have different version of that same type or same menu item, and that's exactly what polymorphism is. So sandwich is a menu item, salad is a menu item, drink is a menu item, fry is a menu item. In other words, inheritance, I think it's better if I give an example. So say A is a class, right? And B inherits from A. And in code, you write something like class B, uh, I think it's called extends, if I'm mistaken, extends A. So class B extends A. That means say A have, I'm just writing some pseudocode because they are not perfectly in syntax. Say this is a class A. And I have some attributes, let's call it int n, then string m, and maybe some obviously we need a constructor, but I'm not going to write everything. Maybe a method as well. Let's just call it the same name, get name method. Why not? And this is going to return a string. So if class B is extending A, that means B also has, even though I did not write down these two attributes of B, but B also has an attribute of N, and B also has an attribute of M, and B also has an attribute of get name, even though I didn't write anything inside class B. And because why we know B has everything? Because of this part. B is extending from A. So anything from A is also anything from B. Usually when you draw it, you do it this way, not the other way around, because other way around doesn't make sense. But that's the idea of inheritance. Class B is inheriting everything from class A. Obviously, class B can have its own stuff, like I don't know, let's call it double Z. This is only on class B, but this is not on class A, because class A is not coming from class B. So basically, the class B is the same of class A and have more stuff like this. So this is like an example of inheritance, inheriting stuff, or in code we say extending class. And does that answer your thing? These are the type of stuffs that are harder to explain without an example. And I don't have an example on top of my head right now. But let's see. Interface.
I
Yeah, go ahead.
sorry, I had a question. In the drink class, does it not need to be implemented by the menu item?
I
I'm just
thought, yeah, you're right. I thought I needed to, but the code passed in the compiler because I thought the drink has to have this thing, so does salad. But the code passed, right? Because we literally saw it, not this one. We literally saw it in the code that I didn't had, where is that? I didn't had the implement this drink, implement memory item, implement item. I'm not sure how it happened. I can quickly ask Google why it happened, but let's ask why it happened first. Um, let's just ask ChatGPT because I don't want to waste too much time. Why didn't I need to implement menu item for salad and drink plus? Mm, okay. Oh, okay. I see. Okay, so the reason it passed is because when we declared or when we initialized these variables, I made them of type sandwich. And sandwich, if you go to sandwich class, where is that? It has this stuff, right? Now, this is a method of sandwich, right? Even if I don't say it's implementing menu item, sandwich still has this method get name, right? Just putting it here tells you that these are mandatory, these are not optional. Like for example, if I don't include this, right? This will pass, but this will not pass when we try to get the get price here. But this will not fail, even though it doesn't have a get price, it will not fail here because it doesn't extend from menu item. Whoa, what the hell? It's from an ad, not from me. Um, so yeah, so I was saying like this is fine because this doesn't extend from menu item. Only way it will not be fine because if I specifically say it's a type menu item, not of type um not of type sandwich, and so is salad and drink. In that case, it will fail if I don't implement menu item for each one of those classes. Okay, well said. Does that answer your question?
Yep, thank you.
Okay, cool. Interfaces we already covered in this example. Abstract classes, I can do this, but I don't remember everything on top of my head right now. Inheritance polymorphism, we covered it here. Static versus instance. So okay, static versus instance. Okay, so the quick way I can explain static versus instance is you guys understand that object is an instance of a class, right? So when we say new sandwich or new salad, it's a new instance of salad, right? And uh, instance methods or instant variables are on that instance of the object. Meaning, say I say salad s1 equal to new salad something something, right? And I put another one, salad s2 equal to new salad, blah, blah, blah. So instance methods or instance variables are variables that are only belong to S1 or S2 individually. So S1 can have its own instance methods, S2 can have its own instance methods, but static methods are part of the class. Meaning if I if I declare a method as static, that is not only part of S1, that is part of the class salad. Do you see the difference? Instance methods or instance methods are part of this instance object, but static methods are part of the class. And class is the blueprint or the thing we initializing from.
Basically, static always associates itself with the class itself.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. And instance can have different, right? S1 can have different instances, S2 can have different instance methods. But when we say static, static is part of class. So if I define static, this is also defined on this part because it's also the same class.
So does that essentially mean if we're using a static method, we don't necessarily need an object to use that static method, right? Whereas if we're doing an instance
Yes, that
method,
is right.
okay, so that would be like S1 dot and then the method applies to S1.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't use that method unless you have an object first. So you have object dot method, and that's the instance method, right?
Exactly, yes.
And static could be like just calling the the method on its own without and then putting things into parameters. That could be done without an object. Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to initialize anything to declare static. Static can
So
be done without it. Yep, go ahead.
those are static and instance methods. What about static and instance variables?
So let me just go back to the thing. So say for example, this one, if I declare something here, I don't know, a static f int f equal to 0, this f variable is part of the class main. Well, it's obvious because so main is the main class of this object of this file. But if I have a static f, say this is public, right? This is a different file. Imagine if I have something like this here, it's like int f0. This f is part of the trio class. So however many trio we have, they all have the f equal to 0. So for example, this one has f equal to 0. If I make a new technically I don't need to even do this. Even if I do something like this, like don't even initialize anything, this trio 2 also has a f equal to 0. And that's the goal of static. I don't have to initialize the object. I can literally just declare the object and it automatically have the static variables. Does it answer your question?
Actually, yes, that's a lot more clear. Thank you.
Sure thing, yeah. Let's see if I missed anything. Can we get a copy of your code? We did that. Static versus instant, inheritance polymorphism. What do you mean by different instance? Different instance is exactly what I was explaining here. So even if I had this is trio 1, this is trio 2, these are two different instances of the trio class, right? And instance methods like, say I don't have a static, let's say int, I don't know, g equal to 1. This will only be, okay, how to explain? Yeah, this will only be part of the object, meaning trio 1 will have g equal to 1, trio 2 will have g equal to 1. But if I change trio 2's, or actually no, I mean they have their own g equal to 1 because they are not part of the static. And the goal of static is you don't have to initialize, as I explained before. Like this is fine, and trio 2 can have this int f equal to 0, but trio 2 cannot have g equal to 1 because g equal to 1 is not a static variable. Like instance variables need to be initialized, like here, but static variables doesn't need to be initialized. Yeah, what William said also makes sense here. Yeah, I think I didn't miss anything on the chat. No. Okay. So yeah, this is the overall structure. Oh, well, I haven't taken this class with Steinberg, so I don't really know how his exams will actually look like. I just have to believe in what Steinberg told us. If you guys don't have anything else you want me to cover, you guys are feel free to leave. But before you leave, please do the feedback form because that's gonna help us do more review sessions in the future.
Just one final thing. The
Mhm.
review session attendance, it says on October 25th. I was gonna ask, we just press that one, right?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
do that, yeah,
Yep. Gotcha.
sure thing, yeah.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate everything.
No problem.
Yeah,
Welcome.
thanks for the review session today.
Sure thing. Good luck to your exams. Okay, William, you can stop the recording, I guess.